Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications, and one of the MCs here at GOLD Midwifery. That's right, folks. We are talking all about our GOLD Midwifery program here today, and I'm so excited because it's coming up very soon. I can't wait to dive into all those topics surrounding the birth world, and we are going to be raising up those midwives and all those birth workers to just enhance the field and again continue the advocacy work that is so desperately needed with so many other topics in between. We open up on February 5th for most of you. All right. So this is where you get to go to the website at goldmidwifery.com, check out all the details. It will bring up your local time and tell you when all of the topics are. Of course, we do have some free and open access sessions for you as well. So check those out. You do need to register for them. And then that way you can either come to the live event or you can come to the recording. I will tell you though that we do have some fabulous interactive sessions this year. And that brings me to the person that's sitting with us here today, Akane Sugimoto Storey. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You have something really special in store to share with us. We're all feeling like we can take a breath when we're around you, but perhaps I'll let you explain a little more. You can tell the audience a little more about where you are in the world, what you do, and what the topic you're going to be sharing with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm currently located in Seattle, Washington, where I'm doing my doctorate in global health leadership and practice, which is a very exciting place to be. Before that, I was in Mexico, where I've been living for about 20 years. I was in clinical practice in Chiapas, Mexico, for a good number of years, and I was running a midwifery center there and training midwives and providing direct clinical care. I've also done some work overseas with training midwives and leading leadership sessions with midwives in Afghanistan.
Wow. When I read your bio, I was like, wow, you really have this very unique background, many travels. It seems like you were placed in very unique places, but you
Mhm,
really, I mean, you immersed yourself. You were living in Mexico for 20
mhm.
years. Tell me a little bit about how you incorporated your somatic movement work there, and how it came about. Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so let's see. So somatics for me began just before I began training as a midwife.
Mm,
I was working in Twin Cities, and I was working with an organization that worked with a Latina community that was passing through that was experiencing domestic violence. And I was looking for a shift. I was wanting to train in midwifery. I wasn't quite sure if that was going to be the path for me. I wanted to do something that would help me guide people and perhaps myself through transformational experiences, whether that be on a macro level or whether that be on a personal level. And as I was exploring options, I kept coming across somatics, and it was just fascinating for me. And I was
hmm
thinking, I'm not sure how I can tie this all together, but I'm just so intrigued. So I went and I signed up for my first module at East West Somatics Institute, and I began training, learning the techniques that I'll be bringing you all through during my presentation. And when I began training as a midwife, I found so many practical applications from day one, that I just kept continuing with my training and ended up certifying as a registered somatic movement therapist, and doing some additional training in craniosacral therapy to provide this one-on-one client care. Immediately began seeing applications in teaching coursework, childbirth education, and movement classes with those who were preparing for their childbirth process, or in the post as well. And in training student midwives as well. How can we train student midwives in a way where they'll be able to bring these concepts in when they haven't necessarily done a full training in somatics? And
Yeah.
it's really just grown from there.
It's just amazing. I'm just listening and absorbing your sort of journey there. What intrigues me is that, I don't see this everywhere. So the question is, why
Mhm.
not? Why isn't it just, I know you're training everybody that you meet and finding ways to incorporate it with your students, which is beautiful. but I don't hear it everywhere. So tell me why,
Mhm,
because it really does have such a unique way of calming the body and
mhm.
supporting the journey of our patients. So tell me some of the barriers or some of the things that you've noticed along your journey.
Yeah, so I think, it's we live in this world where our neocortex is just forced to go and go and go and go. And we think about
Mm,
leadership, we think about advocacy, and we think of all of these things that we have to do. I fall into the very same thing, but we have these very concrete things that need to happen. When we're providing birth care, we're oftentimes also, even though depending on the model of care in which we're providing that care, we still have a set number of things that we have to get through, and then we have the next person who's coming, and then we have those who are on call who may be calling in, and we're responding to multiple things at once. We're continuously multitasking. So somatic pausing to pay attention to what's happening within the body,
mm,
and what's happening in our surroundings, and taking note and providing space for that to happen. And that creates that's challenging to do when we're in go mode. And so I think that's why, it's not more readily used. It's not as our value is placed on these achievements and these milestones, and not necessarily on this taking time to pause.
yeah,
We do focus
absolutely.
on this, we all benefit from it.
Yeah, I agree. And as I mentioned at the top of this conversation, being with you almost gives me up an opportunity to take a breath because you're like, we're just going to take a moment. I'm like, okay. So you
Mhm,
just exude this. You're a very
mhm,
natural person that
mhm,
exude. You live and breathe this type of
mhm,
movement now. And I think that we're all secretly yearning this. This is
mhm,
something, particularly, coming through COVID, we're seeing a lot of fallout in our families and ourselves as practitioners. And we can only gain from this. This is something that's not going to take anything away. This is
mhm,
something truly that's going to help nourish that nervous system, and really help us still find, lack of better words, balance,
mhm,
in our lives. The hustle
mhm,
mentality needs to be set aside.
mhm.
Have you found yourself talking to people, friends, colleagues? Have they been, also sort of attracted to this now? They know you for what you do, but have they been seeking further into this as an opportunity to learn something new, Akane?
It's interesting because even though I've been trained in somatics and I use it in my daily life, I'm
Mhm.
not, that's not my main title that I usually go by. It's
Oh,
just something that's been incorporated into into the way that I approach midwifery, or the way
sure.
that I approach, my, when I did my master's degree. I'm focusing on health systems, or I'm focusing on,
Right.
how can we get midwifery better incorporated into the health systems of countries around the world. Um, I'm not necessarily talking about somatics, but
Right.
I'm living it, if that makes sense, and I'm
I
I'm
love
bringing
that.
it in every opportunity that I can.
Yeah.
When I was providing direct care, and when I was leading classes that were specifically somatic yoga, somatic prenatal
Hmm.
yoga, or somatic metamorphic movement, or somatic movement class, or somatic body work, or craniosacral session, in which I'll bring in somatics. Um,
Hmm.
then I would get some folks, some clients who are very interested and wanted to talk about training opportunities, or how to use it for their own healing process, but on a very micro level,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for
So
sure.
yeah, it's not something that I go to holiday meals with my extended family, and I'm not talking about somatics.
Right.
And
You're
when I'm
just
in,
sorry, go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
and when I'm in a classroom setting as well with my doctorate program, I'm not talking about somatics, but
Yeah.
at the same time I am, because I'm asking, why are we so focused on these pharmacological, or
Hmm.
medical intervention
Hmm.
type programming, when we really need to think about ways that will reach on a population level, and that individually we can create this change.
Hmm. I think it's very attractive, to be honest, because I think we actually, sometimes there is, well, I know that there is that element of, we are attracted to those who
Mhm.
are living the life. So you're not teaching it
Mhm.
necessarily, but, or, teaching it in that
Mhm.
element, but you are utilizing it and feeling it and breathing. You're attracted
Yes.
to, you're attractive to people because of what you
Mhm.
do and, what you have learned,
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
some ways that is, that's where we sort of start to think, okay, well, if you've got this life, because you have a very busy
Mhm.
life, as we know, and
Mhm.
I know you're
Mhm.
doing your doctorate in global health
Mhm.
leadership and
Mhm.
practice, which is amazing,
Mhm.
and you work very hard. And so
Mhm.
looking at you and seeing how you're being able to bring those elements in to find the nurturing balance that you need within your body, not
Mhm.
necessarily work-life balance doesn't always play into that, but the
Mhm.
nurturing of your own self is really beautiful.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I'm very attractive to learn those principles so that I can add them into my life, and
Yes.
my busy schedule. It just sounds
Exactly.
wonderful.
Yeah. Exactly. And there are many professionals who study somatics, and that's what they do for their main focus. That's just not the way that I've used it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's brilliant. I certainly, I mean, I've already had this, inside look at what you're going to be doing and teaching, and I can't wait to hear some more. Now, I will tell our audience, just as a little beautiful add-on, we're going to be putting up some pre-homework to this session. And Akane is actually going to be, when she's live with us online, she's actually going to be leading us and showing us in a movement room, in a space that will give us some tools that we can use. So come prepared. You'll have an opportunity to come in comfortable clothing, anything that, you can just be present with. And she's actually going to be teaching us online. So this is just such a wonderful opportunity. Akane, is there anything else you want to share with our audience before we set everyone off on their day?
Nothing I can think of right now, but I'm thrilled to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And once again, everyone can come and join us. You can check out everything online. You can check out Kane's some pre-homework, some of the things that she's going to be teaching. And we can't wait for you to join us in some of that beautiful somatic movement. Thank you
Great.
again, Akane, for joining us here today. And again, for all of you out there, bye-bye for now.
Thank you.